Sophia couldn't remember applying for the position. She stood outside the building, all glass and steel and reflected sky, staring at the appointment confirmation on her phone. 10 a.m., Sterling Tower, 33rd floor, interview for Senior Director of Strategic Vision. The email had arrived 3 days ago from an address she didn't recognize, confirming an interview she didn't recall scheduling. But her resume was attached. Her calendar had been automatically updated. And she needed a job. 6 months since the layoff. 6 months of applications sent into the void, of interviews that went nowhere, of her savings account dwindling like water circling a drain. Her landlord had been understanding, but understanding had an expiration date, and she was approaching it fast. So here she was. The lobby was emptier than a downtown tower should be at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. Her heels clicked on marble that looked like it had never been walked on. The security desk sat unmanned. The elevator banks gleamed, doors open, waiting. She stepped into the one marked 30 to 40 and pressed 33. The elevator rose smoothly, silently. No music, no corporate messages on a screen. Just her reflection in the polished steel, multiplied and distorted, watching herself from infinite angles. The doors opened on the 33rd floor. The waiting room was wrong. Not obviously wrong, not horror movie wrong, just dimensionally incorrect. The space was larger than the building's footprint should allow. The ceiling stretched higher than 33 floors of office space would permit. And the other candidates, there had to be 50 people waiting, sitting in chairs that seemed to extend in rows that bent around corners that shouldn't exist. A reception desk sat at the center of the impossible geometry. A woman looked up as Sophia approached, young, professional, with a smile that was pleasant but somehow didn't reach her eyes. Or maybe it reached too far, extending into something that wasn't quite expression. Name? She asked. Sophia Chen. I have a 10 a.m. interview. The receptionist typed without looking at her keyboard. I don't see you in the system. Sophia's stomach dropped. But I have the confirmation email. Oh, wait. Here you are. The woman smiled wider. You're already checked in. Have a seat. They'll call you when they're ready. Sophia found a chair near the edge of the waiting area. The other candidates sat perfectly still, staring at nothing. Some looked like they'd been there for hours. Others for days. One man near the front had a beard that suggested weeks. She checked her phone. No signal. The time read 10 a.m., but when she looked again a moment later, it still read 10 a.m. First time, Sophia turned. The woman in the next chair looked normal enough. Blazer, portfolio, the careful makeup of someone who needed to make a good impression. But her eyes held something that might have been sympathy or might have been warning. Is it that obvious? You still look surprised, the woman said. That goes away after the first few rounds. Rounds? Of questions. Some of us have been here a while. Sophia glanced at the woman's portfolio. It was blank. No name, no company logo, nothing. How long is a while? The woman shrugged. Hard to say. Time works differently here, but I think it's been. She paused, calculating. 3 days, or maybe 3 hours, or maybe it hasn't started yet. Before Sophia could respond, a door opened, a door she hadn't noticed before, appearing in a wall that seemed solid until it wasn't. Sophia Chen, a voice called. She stood on shaking legs and walked toward the door. Behind her, the woman whispered, just remember, they only want the truth. The interview room was smaller than she expected and larger than it should be. 3 people sat behind a table that looked like it was carved from a single piece of dark wood. Or maybe it was glass. Or maybe it was something else that her eyes couldn't quite process, so her brain labeled it table and moved on. The interviewers were harder to place. 2 women and a man, she thought. Or maybe it shifted. 3 women, 3 men, 3 people who were somehow both and neither. Their faces were almost clear but slightly blurred around the edges, like photographs taken with the wrong exposure. Ms. Chen, the one in the middle, said. Their voice was warm but strange, as if speaking from the bottom of a well or the top of a mountain or somewhere in between. Thank you for coming. Thank you for having me, Sophia said automatically, settling into the chair across from them. Interview mode engaged. Smile professional but not desperate. Back straight. Eye contact but not aggressive. We have just one question for you today, the interviewer said. Sophia waited, hands folded, prepared to discuss her 5-year plan or her greatest weakness or how she handled conflict. Who are you? She blinked. I'm sorry, who are you? The interviewer repeated. Please take your time. We have all the time in the world. Sophia smiled, shifting into her prepared introduction. I'm Sophia Chen. I have an MBA from Stanford and 8 years of experience in strategic planning and corporate development. Most recently, I was Director of Strategy at Meridian Consulting, where I led a team of 12 and managed a portfolio of Fortune 500 clients. I'm passionate about organizational transformation and creating sustainable value in complex environments. Who are you? They asked again. The question hung in the air like smoke. Sophia tried again. I'm a strategic thinker with a proven track record of. Who are you? Her prepared speech died in her throat. She looked at the 3 interviewers. They gazed back with patience that felt infinite and terrible. I just told you. I'm Sophia Chen. I have experience in. Who are you? Something in her chest tightened. I don't understand what you're asking. We're asking who you are. I'm telling you who I am. No, the interviewer on the left said gently. You're telling us what you do. What you've accomplished, what role you've played, but who are you? Sophia felt sweat prickling her spine despite the room's perfect temperature. I'm a daughter, a friend, a professional. I'm someone who works hard, who delivers results. Who are you? I'm 34 years old. I grew up in Sacramento. I like hiking and Korean food and old movies. Who are you? I'm someone who cares about making a difference. Her voice was rising now, frustration bleeding through her professional veneer. I'm someone who wants to contribute, to matter, to. Who are you? And something broke. Sophia stood abruptly. The chair scraped against the floor, or maybe there was no floor, maybe she was standing on nothing, maybe none of this was real. I don't know what you want from me, she shouted. I've told you who I am. I've given you my credentials, my experience, my. Who are you? The walls of the room were becoming transparent. Sophia could see through them now, into what looked like infinite other rooms. And in each room, she saw herself. Herself at different ages, different choices, different lives. In one room, she was still at Meridian, climbing the corporate ladder, 60-hour weeks and Ambien to sleep and Adderall to wake. In another, she'd taken the Peace Corps position after college instead of business school. Teaching in rural Thailand, burned dark by the sun, laughing with children who didn't speak her language but understood her anyway. In another, she'd married Jason when he proposed instead of saying she needed to focus on her career. 2 kids, a house in the suburbs, a life that looked like what her parents wanted. In another, she dropped out of Stanford and moved to New York to paint. Starving but electric, alive in ways her current self had forgotten were possible. In another, she'd never left Sacramento at all. Managing her father's restaurant, working 16-hour days, no MBA, no strategy consulting, no corner office dreams. In another, she was dead. Car accident on the 101, age 27, all potential frozen at the moment of impact. No, Sophia whispered. No, no, no. Who are you? The interviewers asked, but their voices were kind now. Patient, compassionate even. I'm all of them, Sophia said, her voice breaking. I'm every version, every choice, every path. How am I supposed to know who I am when I could have been anyone? Exactly, they said. The walls solidified again, the infinite rooms disappeared. Sophia found herself back in her chair, though she didn't remember sitting down. I don't understand, she said weakly. You think identity is fixed, the interviewer in the middle said. You think, who you are, is something you can define, package, present in an interview. But identity is fluid, contextual, constructed moment by the choices you make and the stories you tell about those choices. So who am I? Who are you? They asked again, but this time it felt different. Not a test but an invitation. Sophia closed her eyes, breathed, let go of the resume in her mind, the bullet points, the accomplishments that were supposed to add up to herself. I'm scared, she said finally. I'm scared that I've spent 12 years building a career that doesn't matter. I'm scared that I optimized my life for success in a game I'm not sure I want to play anymore. I'm scared that I don't know who I am without my job title, without my salary, without the identity I've been constructing since I was 18 years old. Who are you? They asked, softer now. I'm someone who wanted to make her parents proud. Who wanted to prove she deserved to be in rooms where people didn't expect her. Who wanted to be important, valuable, necessary. Who are you? Tears were sliding down her face now, but she didn't wipe them away. I'm someone who forgot why any of it mattered. Who optimized and strategized and analyzed until I couldn't remember what I actually wanted. Who built a perfect life that feels empty. Who are you? I'm someone who's lost. Who are you? I'm someone who wants to find her way back. Who are you? And finally, exhausted, stripped of pretense, Sophia said, I don't know. I genuinely, truly don't know. The three interviewers smiled. Now, they said in unison, you're ready. The room shifted, not dramatically, just subtly enough that Sophia knew something fundamental had changed. The table was still there, the interviewers were still there, but the quality of the space had transformed. From interrogation to invitation. Ready for what? She asked. To begin, the interviewer on the right said. To become, the one on the left added. To be, the middle one concluded. They slid a folder across the table. Sophia opened it. Inside was a job offer, but not for Senior Director of Strategic Vision. The title read, Seeker of Authentic Purpose. The description was strange. Primary responsibilities. Wake up each morning without knowing who you are. Question every assumption about success, value, and meaning. Strip away constructed identity until only essence remains. Rebuild from truth rather than expectation. Guide others through the same dissolution. Compensation, uncertainty, discomfort, occasional terror, ultimate freedom. Benefits, authenticity, presence, the ability to live unchoreographed. Start date, now. Sophia stared at the offer. This isn't a real job. Isn't it? The middle interviewer leaned forward. You've been performing a role for 12 years. Playing a character called Successful Professional. Following a script written by business schools and corporate culture and parental expectations. This isn't a job, it's an invitation to stop performing and start living. I need money, Sophia said. I need to pay rent. I need health insurance. You need to know who you are, the interviewer interrupted gently. Everything else is negotiable. Sophia looked at the offer again. At the bottom, in small print, warning. Accepting this position means releasing attachment to all previous identities. You cannot take this role and remain who you were. The transformation is irreversible. What if I say no? She asked. Then you leave, the interviewer said. Walk out that door, find another interview, build another version of the life you think you should have. Keep performing the role until you believe it's real. And if I say yes, then the real interview begins. Sophia sat in silence. She could hear her heart beating, her breath moving in and out, the sound of her own existence stripped of context and meaning. She thought about the apartment she was about to lose, the career she'd built, the person she'd been, the person everyone expected her to be. She thought about the infinite rooms, the infinite versions of herself making different choices. She thought about the man in the waiting room with the weeks-old beard, still trying to answer the question, still trying to construct an identity that would satisfy the interviewers. And she thought, what if there's nothing to satisfy? What if the point is the question itself? I accept, she said. The room disappeared, not violently, just dissolved like mist, and Sophia found herself standing on a street she didn't recognize. Downtown somewhere, but which city she couldn't say. The Sterling Tower was gone. The interviewers were gone. Her phone, her purse, her portfolio, all gone. But she felt lighter than she had in years. A coffee shop sat across the street. Through the window, she could see a "Help Wanted" sign. Nothing prestigious, nothing strategic, just, barista needed, flexible hours, come in and talk. Sophia crossed the street. The owner was a woman in her 60s with grey hair in a long braid and eyes that had seen things. She looked up as Sophia entered. You hear about the job? Maybe, Sophia said. I don't really know. The woman smiled. Best answer I've heard all week. You're hired. Can you start tomorrow? I don't know anything about making coffee. I'll teach you. It's not complicated. Hot water, ground beans, paying attention. Most of life is like that, actually. Sophia felt something in her chest loosen. A knot she'd been carrying for so long she'd forgotten it was there. What's the pay? Enough to live on if you live simply. Not enough to live on if you're trying to impress anyone. Benefits? You get to talk to people. Real conversations, not networking. You get to make things with your hands. You get to go home at 5 and not think about work. You get to remember what it feels like to be a person instead of a resume. Sophia laughed, actually laughed, for the first time in months. When you put it that way. I'm not saying it's what you should do, the woman said. I'm saying it's what's available right now, in this moment, if you want it. Tomorrow, something else might be available. A month from now, something else entirely. The question isn't, what should I do with my life? The question is, what do I want to do with this moment? Sophia looked around the coffee shop. Small, imperfect, real, the opposite of Sterling Tower and its impossible geometry. I'll start tomorrow, she said. 3 months later, Sophia was pulling a shot of espresso when she saw him. The man from the waiting room. The one with the weeks-old beard. But his beard was trimmed now, and he looked different. Lighter, more present. He ordered a cappuccino and waited while she steamed the milk. When she handed it to him, he met her eyes. You made it out, he said. So did you. Eventually. It took me a while to realize the interview never ends. The question just keeps coming, different forms, same core. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And have you figured it out? He smiled. I've figured out I never will. That's different, but better. After he left, Sophia found a business card on the counter. Blank except for an address she recognized. Sterling Tower. And below it, handwritten, when you're ready to guide others through the dissolution, come back. We're always hiring. The position is psychopomp. The work is sacred. The pay is terrible. The benefits are transformation. The interviewers. Sophia put the card in her pocket. Not yet, she thought. But someday, when she'd finished forgetting who she was supposed to be and started remembering who she actually was. Or wasn't, or could be, or all of the above. Late that night, alone in the studio apartment she'd rented with her barista wages, Sophia stood in front of the bathroom mirror and asked herself the question. Who are you? And for the first time in her life, she smiled at the not knowing. Someone becoming, she said to her reflection. Someone in process. Someone undefined and therefore unlimited. Her reflection smiled back, and in the mirror's edge, barely visible, she thought she saw them, the 3 interviewers, watching from whatever liminal space they inhabited, nodding with approval. The interview, she realized, had never ended. It was just beginning. Every morning, every choice, every moment of uncertainty, all of it was the interview. And the only way to pass was to accept that there was no passing, no failing, no final answer. Just the question, asked again and again, forever, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And the freedom of never having to answer the same way twice. We have come to the end of this story, The Interview, which is one of 6 short stories in the book, Thresholds, by the author Azzie Riley. If you enjoyed it, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let us know your thoughts in the comment section. If you learned something useful, then share the video with a friend. Also, to get a copy of the book, kindly use the link in the description. Thank you and I hope to see you on the next one. Cheers.